Welcome everybody. This will be the 14th episode of Flyside Chats, and today I have Aileen Lane with me.
Hi. Gosh, I'm new in Sedona. I just came here in July, but before that, lived for almost 15 years off and on in Boise, which is a great place for fly fishing. And when I went there, I didn't know anybody, but it was basically the fly fishing community that really embraced me. And I think that's what I think about with fly fishing is really community and that sense of belonging and all the friendship. I did that, and I'm did a lot of fly tying, and I don't know. I don't know if you're aware, but I started fly tying first before I even knew what fly fishing
Oh,
was.
really? I know. I did not know that.
My ex-husband at that time wanted his wife to tie flies for him, so I took some classes from this wonderful pastor out in Eagle, Idaho, and I had such a wonderful time because I love creating and working with my hands, and they worked. I had no clue what fly fishing was, and it wasn't until I came back to LA and I took some classes in LA of all places for fly fishing and went on my first trip and learned from people who were very patient to teach me how to fish. And so when I decided to go back to Idaho in 2012, that's when I really started to fish, actually try it and get out on the water. And that's what I've been doing ever since. So, yeah, so it's different now being in Sedona. Um, it's kind of like starting all over again in a way.
Do you tie professionally and sell your
I,
flies?
I have in the past. I am a
Okay.
pro staff for Deer Creek and so on, but it's been really an adjustment. Because when I came to Sedona, I started school. I've always been doing Korean psychotherapy and Reiki, but I really wanted to kind of go away from OT, which is what I've been done for many years. And so a lot of the focus has been on getting my license to do body work in Sedona. And so, and again, finding space here, to tie. I have my fine tying stuff, but I'm kind of tying right now as needed for myself. It's not like I could just go to store and say, okay, oh, I need some more hooks or I need more supplies because Sedona, if you're not familiar, it's basically it's more geared towards the tourism. There's no fly shops here. Yeah, that's one of the challenges. So I thought I would kind of take a break and continue just tying for myself as I needed, and then at the same time starting to kind of explore more of what Arizona has to offer for fishing too. Yeah, we do have Oak Creek. There's browns and rainbows, but they started putting in Gila trouts, which is the
Okay.
original native trout of Arizona, which kind of got wiped out, when they started putting in, what man does, they affect nature. So they say, let's put in some browns and rainbows. But so they're trying to introduce Gila trouts again, and there are some good sized ones in there, um, but it's again is very touristy, so you kind of have to fight the crowd. So I've been trying to explore. There's other parts of Arizona people don't realize that it's very diverse. People think about it as just being like red rock canyons and just cactus and the desert, but I mean, there's if you go down to Flagstaff, you're up in the Ponderosas. I've been spending some time with Cinda Howard, who is a guide here in Arizona, and she's over more east, up in the where there's a lot of great fishing. I've just kind of exploring like other places that are just not so touristy. Oh gosh, maybe 3 weeks ago, I was down. I had to go down to Phoenix. I never hang out in Phoenix. It's just a busy city, and I'm only there when I'm either flying in or flying out. And my friend Brian lives out in Phoenix, so kind of called them, and we fished the canals,
Hmm.
and they have tons of carp there. So I got a
Okay.
carp and a fly, and so that was a lot of fun, something different. So I'm having a good time. It's different from Boise, but
Yeah.
every place has its own unique offerings for fishing. So
So when you were living in Boise, you that's where you started fly fishing when you were in Idaho.
That's where I got introduced to it. Yes.
I don't know. I don't know anything about the Boise area. So in Boise, are you can you trout fish like right there in town, or do you have to drive off into the mountains somewhere? Or
Oh no, I mean, the Boise River runs right through town, and it's huge. It's and so does a snake. The snake is not too far away. Um, so you can fish in town, and then you can also drive. I've even driven up in the foothills, probably 20 minutes from downtown Boise. There's some creeks that runs through the trails, and you wouldn't think there's fish in there, but there's red band trouts. So you don't have to go that far, and if you want to, you can drive maybe another hour to the South Fork of the Boise, where there's great good sized rainbow trouts. And then if you want to get away from those crowds, you can go up into the mountains, which is maybe another couple of hours. So there's a variety of places to go. We're also pretty close to Oregon, so I fish a lot on the Oahe, and that was probably about an hour away, where there's a lot of brown trout. So it's very vast. It's a great place for the outdoors. If you love the outdoors, Boise is definitely the place to be.
I think I first encountered you when I was editing the Tenkara USA magazine, and you must have had an article in
Yeah.
that. And then you were for a while you were running the um, Kype Magazine. Is that
Yes.
correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's going on with that? Anything?
I kind of retired that. I did it for about 6 years. It's an online digital magazine that I continued on after George Douglas kind of retired from that. And that's where I got my start really too, with Kype, where my first fine tying tutorial was published in there, and some stories. So I kind of took that on as a publisher, and because I really enjoyed, never thought I would get into writing, but I kind of really enjoy that aspect of it. And then having other people who are interested in sharing their stories, I think that's what brought me the most joy. Is I think everybody has a story, and it's not all about fishing. It's just whatever about. I mean, it could be about fishing, but then there's also about their experiences, or with the people, or maybe it is just about fishing, but just everybody's input. And so just kind of putting it together, and that was a lot of fun. But I thought, after a while, I thought, okay, I'm ready to kind of put this away and move on to something else. And but yeah, that was a lot of fun. So it's been kind of retired, and
Okay.
not sure if anybody else wanted to take over it, but
Hmm.
if they are, they're more than welcome.
Is that still if folks are interested in seeing that, are all the issues still online that
Well,
people can?
online. It is
Okay.
online. Yeah. ISSU. So it's on ISSU, and that's like a whole big app that has all the online publications on there. So it's still there.
Okay. So you mentioned earlier you were on the Deer Creek pro,
Mm-hmm.
protein.
First half, yes.
For those of us who have no idea what that might mean, what does something like that mean?
What was, well, in the Flame world, resins, those UV resins, highly competitive. And but there's a company called Deer Creek in the UK, and it is run by Nick Wright. And so it's a family business, and he's just been with that company for maybe since 2013, 12, 13. It's been a while. Even though I haven't really had time to tie, I'm in charge of their Instagram
Okay.
posts, so kind of sending out, helping with the whole social media with them. But yeah, so it's providing their products. I mean, I love their products. They're UV resin. So whenever I do Flying Time show, I would always use their products, and so that people know about them. But yeah, so basically tying for them and kind of representing their products and stuff. So, and
Okay.
they've always been wonderful for me. So I'm gonna like to stick with companies that are very supportive of fly tires.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Cool. I've been asking folks about flies like that they like a favorite fly. So if
Mhm.
you're headed out to some local stream, and you know what fly are you going to make sure you have with you?
Oh gosh. No, definitely. It's what I call the OGF flies, oh guys flies, which for a while I had that. I was promoting that. My friend Brian made this wonderful um, this material. I'm not really sure what to call it. I mean, we use it for the wing post,
Okay.
and it's highly visible, and it floats really well. With that material, it's just a simple body. We would tie it on a Daiichi um, 1100, like 1100, which has a big oversized eye on it.
Okay.
So as long as all you have to do is just change the thread and the size. So black to whatever the imitation. So very simple concept. Instead of trying to come out with a whole new pattern, it's just, you use the wing post, which is very visible, floats well. Just change the color and size, and it will imitate any dry fly. We think, oh, guys flies because you can see it well
Okay.
on the water for those old eyes, and then you can also thread it pretty easily too because of the oversized eye on the hook. But
Yeah.
definitely, that's probably the pattern that I use the most. The most is that one, and it's so effective. Um,
And the oversized eye. I mean, now I always say like when I put a fly on, it's like faith that I'm gonna I just put the tippet up and just hope that something's gonna happen.
happen. What's funny, as a tyer, I mean, as a fisher, we always, I mean, there's thousands of patterns out there, and we tie so many, and I think we tie it to please the fly fisher. But I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but I mean, I only probably stick with probably less than 10 patterns, just the basic patterns, and that's all I use because they work,
Yeah,
So
yeah. So where are your favorite places to fish? What kind of do you like? Small
um,
streams, big rivers? What do you?
I love small streams. I do, especially out in the mountains, a small creek. I mean, and that's perfect for Tenkara. I've used Tenkara. I also love, I have a glass rod that's only 5'6", very
Okay.
short. That are my bamboos. I really love small stream fishing. I mean, I think those are the best. So,
As a woman, um, gear like
mhm.
waders and all that kind of stuff has how has like the fly fishing industry has it caught up to what kind of gear and things that
It
you need,
has.
or is that not a problem? Because I know in years past it was probably difficult to get.
Right. I think it's gotten better because I think there's more women out there, who are invested in this. And so, like, for example, Mayfly, they came out with the women's waders,
Okay.
that for different size, shapes, and women's.
Okay.
And so I think the industry is starting to realize that, there are more women out there. So they're trying to gear a lot of it towards them too. So, and there's a lot, yeah, there is a lot more women. There's more support. Like, for example, United Women on the Fly, they also, they put together a lot of great tutorials online and in Zoom. And right now, because of COVID, they kind of postponed it, but they had these little fishing trips that they would put together, which is great because, you go with other women, and they've just been wonderful. It's not intimidating, and it just kind of makes everybody feel very welcoming. So I think it's been wonderful for women now. So
You're headed out to the stream and you're putting on some music. What are you putting on?
no, I don't put on music. The
Oh, when you're
music
driving,
is no, the music is nature.
when you're tying flies, what are you listening to?
Uh-huh. Oh, I you might think it's weird, but there's these wonderful chanting. I don't know if it's because of Sedona, but I just love listening to just kind of calming, meditative music, and especially the chanting stuff.
So before we sign off, is there any are there any last comments you'd like to make to folks before we sign off here?
No, I think just that the fly fishing community is just absolutely wonderful. And I think fly fishing itself is just wonderful, just getting away, and it's just a way of meditating and just helping find peace away from all the news and all the craziness that's going on in the world. It's just that moment just dedicated to just yourself and nature. So yeah, that's all. Yeah, thank you so much.